And we are just now where we move into the exponential phase. And I agree, artificial intelligence, but not only artificial intelligence, but also the metaverse, new space technologies, and I could go on and on, synthetic biology. Our life in 10 years from now will be completely different, very much affected, and who masters those technologies in some way will be the master of the world.
Will be part of the young leaders initiative.
Mrs. Merkel, Tony Blair, they were all, even President Putin, they were all young global leaders before.
My commitment.
Allora, praticamente, adesso ve lo faccio riascoltare. Ha detto che Merkel, Tony Blair e persino Putin sono tutti stati giovani leader globali prima di arrivare a queste cariche. Riascoltate.
My commitment will be to add value. Will be part of the young leaders initiative.
Mrs. Merkel, Tony Blair, they were all, even President Putin, they were all young global leaders before. When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the...
Qui ha fatto altri nomi che vedremo, anche in lista. Vi mostro una lista che è incredibile. Qui ha fatto altri nomi, Trudeau, lo faccio risentire giusto questo pezzettino.
And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we...
Praticamente qui ha aggiunto anche il presidente dell'Argentina. Comunque ora ve lo vado a prendere già tradotto. Ci dice: devo dire che quando cito i nostri nomi come la signora Merkel, persino Vladimir Putin e così via, sono stati tutti giovani leader globali del World Economic Forum. Ma ciò di cui siamo molto orgogliosi ora, le giovani generazioni come il primo ministro Trudeau, il presidente dell'Argentina, Mauricio Macri e così via, che penetriamo nei gabinetti. Quindi ieri era un ricevimento con il primo ministro Trudeau e avrei saputo che a metà di questo gabinetto, anche più della metà di questo gabinetto, sono nostri, sono i nostri. In realtà Young Global Leaders sono tutti provenienti da questa formazione, ok? Sottoposti a questa organizzazione. È incredibile.
That we penetrate the cabinets. I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow. Yeah. Sorry. True in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I mean, with the president, with a young global leader.
Dicono tutto sotto la luce del sole. Basta aprire gli occhi e unire i puntini.
Many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud. These are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life. After being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm. So after 4 billion years of organic life shaped by natural selection, we are entering the era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. So does the data about my DNA, my brain, my body, my life, does it belong to me or to some corporation or to the government or perhaps to the human collective? Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Over. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
The
to the
vaccine
test, of course.
will help us, of course. Surveillance, people could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings. Coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin.
Sorveglianza sotto la pelle, quindi monitorare a distanza cosa avviene all'interno di ogni essere umano. E vi ricordo sempre 3 progetti web: leggere nella mente di tutti, l'ultimo meeting 2023. Questi sono i loro progetti, bellissimi.
to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us. The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take a
Non cambia ciò che stai facendo, ma cambia te stesso.
genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who will change, and of course this has a big impact on your identity.
It offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it, and that's what we want to do in Davos next year. Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
Ripetiamo.
Sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
Questo 2023 al meeting Davos, il World Economic Forum ha presentato questo programma intitolato La battaglia per il tuo cervello, per il vostro cervello. Praticamente si tratta del monitoraggio delle onde cerebrali di massa per aumentare la produttività e combattere il crimine. Quindi vi posso mettere in gioco tante cose, alcune me le dimenticherò pure, però vi ricordate il programma Prevent dal Regno Unito? Quanti altri ce ne sono? In visione distopica e anche mostrata in alcune finestre di Overton hollywoodiane, tipo Minority Report. Guardate questo. Praticamente menziona un'altra applicazione di queste tecnologie, ok? E monitoraggio, su come aumentare al massimo la produttività e combattere i crimini. Ci parlano di utilizzare l'elettroshock in determinate situazioni. Pensate un po'. Facciamolo dire da lei. Ad esempio, quando non presti abbastanza attenzione, vai con la scossa.
We might soon even use the technology to help people wake back up. This is a haptic scarf that MIT Media Lab has developed, which uses brainwave technology.
Qui si parla di una sciarpa indossabile sviluppata dal laboratorio multimediale del Massachusetts Institute of Technology, che è una di quelle università super sovvenzionate per i programmi più aberranti.
Which uses brainwave technology in a responsive way to give a person a little buzz, literally, when their mind starts to wander, to help them refocus and hone their attention.
Durante la sessione di domande e risposte, una persona ha chiesto alla presentatrice di focalizzarsi solo sui casi positivi di questa tecnologia, perché evidentemente ha capito che sono solo utilizzi negativi.
I'm giving you the positive use cases because what I don't want the reaction to be is let's ban this.
Ti sto solo dando i casi positivi, perché non vorrei che la reazione sia bandiamo questa aberrazione. Mamma mia, veramente assurdo, gente. Da non crederci.
That is already here today.
Tutto quello che avete visto si basa su una tecnologia che è già presente oggi.
Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible.
Un esempio di utilizzo positivo di queste tecnologie, la presentatrice menziona una compagnia in Cina, casa ovviamente del credito sociale, del sistema del credito sociale.
In more than 5,000 companies across the world, employees are already having their brainwave activity monitored.
Aujourd'hui, au bout de ça, on parle de puces qu'on pourra s'implanter. Ce sera quand ça?
Certainement dans les 10 années à venir. Et d'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans notre peau. Et à la fin, peut-être il y a une communication directe entre notre cerveau et le monde digital. Ce que nous voyons, c'est une sorte de fusion du monde physique, digital et biologique.
On appelle quelqu'un, on a même...
We'll have nanobots, because another exponential trend is the shrinking of technology. They'll go into our brain, through the capillaries, and basically connect our neocortex to synthetic neocortex in the cloud, providing extension of our neocortex. Now, today, I mean, you have a computer in your phone, but if you need 10,000 computers for a few seconds to do a complex search, you can access that for a second or two in the cloud. In the 2030s, you need some extra neocortex. You'll be able to connect to that in the cloud directly from your brain. So I'm walking along, and I say, oh, there's Chris Anderson. Oh, he's coming my way. I better think of something clever to say. I've got 3 seconds. My 300 million modules in my neocortex isn't going to cut it. I need 1 billion more. I'll be able to access that in the cloud. And our thinking then will be a hybrid of biological and non-biological thinking. But the non-biological portion is subject to my law of accelerating returns. It will grow exponentially. Genome cost $1 billion. We're now down to $1,000. And every other aspect of biology, as in information technology, has continued to progress in an exponential manner. Our ability to understand this information, to model it, to simulate it, and most importantly, to reprogram it is also progressing in an exponential manner. So our ability to actually change this outdated software in our bodies is also progressing exponentially. And we're starting now is another exponential trend. We're shrinking technology at a rate of 100 in 3D volume per decade. It's an exponential miniaturization. We will reach the ability to have medical nanorobots, basically devices the size of blood cells that have computers, computation, communication, storage tanks, actuators, and they will act just like your T cells. They'll be programmed to combat disease, both by actually going after pathogens like cancer cells, which your T cells are not programmed to do, although we can reprogram them, which is what we're doing with immunotherapy. They'll also be able to overcome metabolic diseases. Lots of diseases are not pathogens. And so another job of these medical nanorobots will be to measure the bloodstream for optimal levels of these resources, put some in, take some out, ferry out toxins, ferry in nutrients or hormones, basically overcome malfunction of your organs. There are detailed designs on what to do for every disease and aging process. There's several thousand-page treatises by Robert Friedis and Ralph Merkel, who are the founders of the nanotechnology track at Singularity University, which I co-founded. So we actually know how to overcome every disease and aging process if we had the enabling factor
of the medical nanorobots. We know exactly how to build those if we have the enabling factor of atomically precise manufacturing or fabrication. This was a vision that Eric Drexler expressed in his 1986 doctoral dissertation at MIT.